Drake Maye has looked incredible through 5 weeks, and we really saw the best example of that come this Sunday night on primetime against the Buffalo Bills. In this game, he led a 2-2 Patriots squad up against not only the division leaders, but their longtime division rivals, the Bills, who have ran that division for years now. He led the Patriots to victory against an undefeated Bills team and put the first loss on Buffalo's record. That game last night was really a Drake Maye showcase. He looked really impressive in the box score, but also in just watching him play, he really passed the eye test. He was making plays left and right. He was stiff arming a pass rusher whilst throwing the ball. He was putting it with pinpoint accuracy in some very narrow spots. He looked really, really good. And this is somebody who just a year ago we were saying maybe he's not quite pro ready. I think we were overthinking Drake Maye as a prospect. I thought that back then because for a long time this is somebody who was the solidified number 2 quarterback in that class. But then he kept falling because we said he's not quite pro ready like these other guys, like a Caleb Williams, like a Jane Daniels. And you even saw that affect his rookie year. He wasn't the starter from day one. That was Jacoby Brissett. But eventually he came in. And now in year 2, I think he has looked so good. Drake Maye has been incredible through 5 weeks. In this most recent game, man, that really stands out because this was the biggest game of his career to this point. You see, there were three factors that made this a huge game for him. On one hand, this is a primetime game, Sunday Night Football. The entire world is watching you. There's no other football on. This is it. So instantly, it's a big one because of that. And we have seen quarterbacks in the past, guys like Kirk Cousins. They've got a reputation for not showing up in prime time. And so, how you do in primetime games, that can really define your reputation. Then, secondly, you're going up against the Buffalo Bills. This is a squad that has reigned your division ever since Tom Brady left. Ever since the greatest of all time left the Patriots, that has been Bills territory. If you were going to be a contender out of that division, if you were going to have a chance at winning that division, you have to take down Buffalo, and that's precisely what the Patriots did. Then you consider the fact that they were 4-0, and with the Eagles' loss earlier on that day, the Bills were the only undefeated team left in the NFL. So that also makes the Pats the first team to take them down this season. And then lastly, it was not just some meaningless game. It wasn't simply a showcase for New England. It was a game that really mattered because the Patriots, they feel like they're building towards something, especially when having Drake Maye under center. That is their franchise quarterback. That is their face of the franchise, their guy moving forward if he has a good game like the one he did last night. And so, with that, the Patriots aren't just playing for pride. They're playing for their future to prove themselves that they have what it takes to take down a team like the Bills on a given night. And that's precisely what they did. So, you combine all those factors. There's a lot of pressure on Drake Maye going into this game. It's prime time, it's against the Bills. And the Patriots, they've got some expectations. And he absolutely performed. 273 yards, 73% completion percentage. He was really crisp, really concise, making the right throws, and he was doing it in an efficient way. It was a really good game for him, and it's been a really good season for him overall. He has been very efficient, and in turn, I have loved what I've seen from Drake Maye this year. This past game was the most recent showcase. And also, speaking of showcase, a shout out to Stephon Diggs. He had one of the best games I've seen this season from a wide receiver. I thought I was impressed from earlier in the day watching Emeka Ibuka and JSN go at it, but then we saw Stephon Diggs that night. And in this game, he had double-digit receptions, well over 100 yards, and he had the most yards ever by a former Bills player against Buffalo. He had something to prove, and man, did he prove it. And delivering him the ball, of course, was Drake Maye. That duo looked really good. And you know what? I'm happy for the Patriots. I'm happy for New England because ever since Tom Brady left, they have not had a lot to look forward to, especially at that quarterback spot. The year after Brady was gone, they brought in Cam Newton. And he started off that year, he looked pretty good through his first couple games. But ever since then, it kind of went real downhill. And by the end of the season, it was clear that Cam Newton was not going to be your guy for more than a year. And I hate to say that. I was a big time Cam Newton fan. I still am. But he just was not quite that same guy that he once was, like the Patriots were hoping for in the absence of Brady. And then you have Mac Jones. His rookie season, he looked really, really good. But then ever since then, he never managed to reach that spark, reach that level once again. And then finally, you get to where we are today with Drake Maye. They said he wasn't pro ready. They said it might take him time to develop. The Patriots, they said, we got nothing but time. We haven't had a history of successful quarterbacks ever since Brady left. Let's give him his time. Let's start Jacoby Brissett. Bring Drake Maye in later in the season. That's what they did. In that first year, he looked pretty good, especially in the eye test. But this year, you've got both the eye test and the production. Drake Maye has been great this season through 5 games, and this is somebody I believe has the potential to be great. I think we really overthought him as a prospect because this somebody, yeah, we said he wasn't quite pro ready, but I liked a lot of what I saw from him out of UNC. And for a long while, pretty much right before the draft, he was the overall number 2 quarterback in that draft class, just behind the generational prospect Caleb Williams. But then, as we got closer and closer to the draft, we saw his stock begin to decline. We saw teams looking at him and saying, hey, maybe I don't want to trust in the development of this project. Maybe I want somebody right now, like a Jane Daniels. In his stock, it just slipped. But he went to the Patriots, and now he's proving why. For a long time, we thought of him as the number 2 quarterback in that draft class because he has been great this season, really. And yes, this past game was probably the biggest showcase of that. But this whole season, I've really loved what I saw out of Drake Maye. Pretty much every game I can point to and look and say something that he did very, very well. I feel like one of the biggest problems with him as a prospect was the fact that we saw some inconsistency over when he was in college. And with that, people said maybe he's got a lower floor than somebody like Jane Daniels, who can scramble, or Caleb, who we saw the improvisation with him over at USC. And so when it came to him being pro ready, we said maybe he's not as pro ready as those guys because he might have a lower floor. Because think about it, right? If somebody's pro ready, oftentimes as a top quarterback, you're not going to be going to the greatest situation. You're going to have to make plays on your own. You're going to have to improvise. You're going to have to find ways to be effective. And so they said maybe Drake Maye can't do that the same way a Daniels or Caleb Williams can. But what I've seen from him in both his rookie year and now his sophomore incredible season, I feel like right now we're seeing a pretty good floor out of him. I would say his rookie year is probably a decent look at what we can say for the floor of Drake Maye. And even that, I think there were a lot of good things to take away from it. And now in year 2, the touchdown INT ratio is a lot better. The efficiency is a lot better. He has looked really, really good. If the worst thing we're ever going to get is a rookie Drake Maye, then I can live with that. That is a franchise quarterback. That is a top 10 quarterback. If that's the worst you're ever going to see from him. But man, come the sophomore season, he has been even better. He's been incredible. And we just saw a showcase of that on national television, Sunday Night Football. What a game it was. Not only did he have a great game, they beat the Buffalo Bills. The guys who have ran that division for so long now, ever since Brady left. And the Patriots, they're building something. And Drake Maye is the foundation for it all.